G'day, I'm DaveTTC. This is Dave's Cave. Well, there's some over there as well. The market challenge has come to an end, and I had two markets back to back in the same town, slightly different locations. How was it? Was it a success or was it a failure? Well, we'll get to that. On a different note, you'll see I'm sporting some Airpods. I think that's what they call them. Just going to see if the sound works better. Before, every time I moved in this seat, it really picked up on the phone speaker quite badly. So hopefully this will lead to better sound. It also means that if I turn around, if I walk away, and if I come up close to say g'day, that there should be not a great deal of difference in sound. It should be a good quality. So we'll see how that goes. You can drop a comment down below if you like. So the markets, how did we go? It was hectic. It was very hectic. Come the end, I thought I was only going to go with the wine caddies and the solo bottle rack or bottle balancer. I went to the markets in the morning, set up for day one. Once I was set up, I rushed back home and finished assembling some planes. And I think I managed to get 20 together. And it was a case of screwing on the back wing and the main wing. Everything else had been done for at least 20. Yeah, I think I'd done everything. Got back to the show, and there I am sitting in the side of the car oiling the planes at the show. So, yeah, taking it to the wire. It was very much of a rush. The wine caddy and the bottle balancer, they both ended up going there just natural, no finish, which is not what I intended. So I'll get to them now and sand them all back and put some oil finish on them as well. Was looking at a possible show this weekend coming, but may not qualify. It seems it is garden and lifestyle related. I'd argue that natural timber, lifestyle choice, but it may not fall into their parameters. So we'll see what happens there. The markets. How did I go? Should I talk about the markets, or do you want to see what I've done in the workshop? Change a few things around here. I'll show you that in a minute. Let's stick to the markets. Some people would say that it was an abysmal failure. I sold 2 items on day 1, 1 item on day 2. Was it a failure? It was disappointing. It was disappointing. I wouldn't call it a failure. I knew I needed more stock. I knew I needed to have a greater range. It was a good learning curve. We made contacts. I was able to talk to different people and find out about other markets and get some little tips and tricks. Also, I was able to interact with people. I met a guy, John, from Scotland, who gave me a few ideas of some things that I might make. We talked house. He's a wood turner, does some woodwork. He's a hobbyist. And he had some good ideas. So I benefited. Hopefully he benefited as well. And there's a few people that I was able to exchange with, and that was a benefit. Might not have made any money, but it was good for me and hopefully good for them. I need to make more stock, and I need to cater for a larger demographic. The town where we were is not what you call an affluent area, and so perhaps wine and extra things, they drink wine, they drink beer, they drink, whatever, but, maybe they're not really wanting to throw money into things to display at things like the glass caddy and the bottle balancer. Whereas if I was in a wine region like, say, Hahndorf in South Australia, I imagine there that those two items would do quite well. And there's lots of other markets round about that have a different demographic. It was a show. The first market was part of a country show. Really, I needed more things aimed at younger people and cheaper things. Planes are great for people who want to spend money on a quality toy that's going to last. You know, one of the kids picked up a plane and threw it before I had a chance to do anything. Fortunately, that was day one where we were on an oval and it landed on the grass. No damage. You know, even if it had landed on the propeller, I think it would have stood up to it fine. And they're not designed to be thrown, but it handled it. I need to have some cheaper toys. I need to have a range. I need to have some puzzles. I need to have a range. Things that are for younger kids and things that are for adults. And I need to cross price boundaries. I don't imagine that it'll be feasible for me to make anything less than $10, but maybe I can. I'll work on it. I might be able to have some really cheap things that are only $5, but you know, I need to be able to make it, sand it, finish it. You know, there's a lot to do for $5 plus buy the material. So we'll see how we go. But I definitely need to have more in the price point, Australian dollars, under $20, you know, up to $20. See if I can get more into that range. My wine caddy was only 25. That wasn't too bad, and I think it's quite reasonably priced. There's some, you know, if you look online, you know, up to $50. So I think mine was quite reasonably priced. So this week I will look at doing some of my egg racks. I think I showed them earlier on. I'll grab one here. This is just for a half dozen. This one's not finished, not sanded. I chucked some oil on it just to see how it'd come up with some oil. So that's for a 6. If you're someone who doesn't have many eggs, there'll be a 12 and there'll be a 6 skinny as well. And hopefully that's what I'm going to get to today. So the market, no, it wasn't a failure. It was disappointing. It was disappointing because, yes, I would have liked to have had some more money out of it. But next time. Let's have a look at the workshop. We'll start off with the mess. That's the aftermath, however you like to pronounce it, of that last minute dash. The rest of the workshop, I used to have the router set up over there. I've now brought it over here. Those bits of aluminium don't need to be there except to demonstrate that those two items are at the same height now, and so the router table can serve as an outfeed for the table saw. Not sure which way round I want to have it yet, whether I want to have it this way. I'll switch the table saw away from the door, but it does mean that the dust collector has to go up and around and back, which is not so conducive for dust collecting. I've got rid of the construction stands and brought this wheeling trolley in, and I have the scroll saw underneath. I did end up using that in the end for some of the propellers. I got the sander, linisher, whatever you want to call it, and one drill press set up. The other drill press, should I need a second one, is over here on a trolley, and so I can just wheel it quite easily to the other end and switch it out for the sander. Also the sander, I can drop that down to the bottom and bring the scroll saw up. So I have variety there, and importantly this is on wheels, so I can wheel it out for easy clean. That corner was getting really hard to get to clean up, so now that should be easier. I've put a shelf underneath that stand, and so my table saw sleds and jigs can go under there, and I can slip those dollies underneath the cross rail there, just lift it up a little bit each end, and wheel that out of the way for when I want to do a cleanup. So that's what I've got there. That's where we're at. That's what we got up to. I'm about to get into production mode again. I'd like to do some more cleaning up, but I do need to be resolved to get something made today. I'd like to try and do a few more simple things. I'm trying not to get bogged down in perfection. I'm trying not to get bogged down too much at this stage in the production runs quite to the same scale as I did, just so that I've got a bit more stock. We'll see what happens. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share. And to those that spoke to me at the show and that we got talking woodwork, it was great talking to you, particularly John. Pleasure meeting you. See you next time. Bye for now.